I'll give you another beacon for other teams, and this won't surprise anyone, but the way Andy Reid coached in the Super Bowl, I think, and the way he develops how his playbook works and the way he develops his game plan, I think is well worth considering. And this comes from my Monday column of this week, and I think it is something that every team in the league should know. And quite honestly, I'm not here blowing my horn about my column, but what I am saying is that this is something that every team in the NFL should read and understand. And I'm just going to read it to you right now, Miles. When I talked to Jonathan Gannon on Sunday, he really fell on the sword for the two plays in the fourth quarter, the reverse motion touchdown pass to Kadarius Toney, and one series later, 3 minutes later, the reverse motion touchdown pass on the other side of the field to Sky Moore. They were 2 of the 16 most wide open touchdown throws of the 2022 football season. And it's amazing when you think about it. The last 2 touchdowns of this season were 2 of the most wide open plays put into play, by any team in the NFL this year. And they did it against a team that had a superb defense through the course of the year, the Philadelphia Eagles. And I want to just read one thing about the Kadarius Toney touchdown, okay? Which, as you know, has been called corn dog by Andy Reid. So I'm going to read this to you right now. I can't fault the Eagles players and coaches for corn dog. How could Philadelphia have seen this coming? Kansas City had called it one time all season. In the second quarter of the season opener, in this same stadium against the Cardinals, on the 23rd offensive snap of Kansas City's season. In the next 77 quarters, exactly 1,242 snaps over 19 games, Andy Reid never called this jet motion reverse again until he called it twice in the span of 4 plays in the fourth quarter of the biggest game of the year.
Wild.
And the reason I bring this up is that I think there's a tremendous lesson for every team in the league on this. And that is one thing that Andy Reid has done as a play designer and a play caller is to be very inclusive. And he's got a lot of coaches on his staff who've been there with him for years. And essentially, all except when Matt Nagy left for 4 years, every one of them of any import has been there during Patrick Mahomes' full career in Kansas City. They all know how the drill works. I explained in my column this week that there is a huge whiteboard in the office suite of Andy Reid. And I saw the whiteboard 3 years ago. In fact, during the week before the Super Bowl 3 years ago. And there was at least 30 plays, might have been more, written on there in all different handwriting, in all different colors, marker on the whiteboard. And Andy Reid told me that day, hey, we're a democracy here. Everybody has a voice. And when I talked to Matt Nagy about this last week, he said he's exactly right. We call it the beautiful mind board. We can all go in and put plays in there, and then we discuss them and whether they would actually work in this particular week's game plan. The only reason I bring that up is that the combination of the number of plays that go on in Andy Reid's mind, this sort of John Nash from A Beautiful Mind, that movie of 6 or 8 years ago. All this stuff is percolating in Andy Reid's head. And I'm not saying he's the only one who's a playmeister. I mean, Sean McVay, Shanahan, and so many coaches in the league. Mike Tomlin on defense, I think, has a lot of plays percolating in his brain at all times. But the thing that I am saying is that Andy Reid has the faith in his players and his coaches to go 1,242 plays without running this at all. And then on a slippery field in the biggest play of the year, understanding that it would be fully understandable if Sky Moore or Kadarius Toney slipped and fell while on this, jet motion, which is a sprint, then you stop in your tracks and sprint back. He's got the confidence to call that twice within 5 snaps. Both times it works for a touchdown. And to me, the lesson is the playbook cannot be too deep, too dense. It can't have too many plays in it. And you should always be willing to take a chance in the biggest times of the year with a play you have not run in 19 games, because you think in this particular case against a man defense in the tight red zone is going to work. He did it twice. It worked twice. It was a slam dunk twice.
The two things that you put in your column about those things that I love were when Gannon said, Jesus Christ wouldn't have stopped that touchdown because just the defense that we were in. I thought that was great. And also when Travis Kelce noted to Kadarius Toney, you got to be under control because of how that field was slipping. It just kind of tells you all of the different elements that go into making the Kansas City Chiefs great. We understand what Patrick Mahomes does, what Andy Reid does, but when you have somebody like Travis Kelce, who, is going to be out there screaming, you got to fight for your right to party. He also is one of the key leaders on that offense that makes sure everybody knows exactly what they have to do. So I loved everything about that. I thought that was great.
I just hope that people in the NFL, and I know that it's a worker bee society, and I get that, but I think if you have a quarterback you trust, if you have a coaching staff you trust, and if you have a brain that you trust and you're calling plays, don't fear calling something you haven't called in 5 months. If you think against this particular defense it's going to work, hey, try it, do it. And, I don't necessarily want to get into this little asterisk on this, but tell you, everything you need to know about Patrick Mahomes on that Sky Moore touchdown pass, okay, there's 2 amazing things about it. As the clock ran down 5-4-3, Andy Reid was trying to call timeout, but he didn't get it in time because he noted that Travis Kelce was lined up on the wrong side of the field. He should have been lined up on the left side. Instead, he was lined up snug right to the right tackle. The reason that everybody wanted him on the left side was they wanted him to be sort of a screen, a beard, a rub for basically for Sky Moore if it was needed on that side. And Mahomes said basically, screw it. I think I can beat this because I sense that I'm going to get zero blitzed. They're not going to have time to cover. I definitely will have at least one guy open on this. And as I wrote, imagine this. Patrick Mahomes, this was the, 1142nd play that Jonathan Gannon had called on defense this year for Philadelphia. And of all those plays, this was only the 8th time that he ever zero blitzed. 8 times all season he zero blitzed. And on this one, it caused one of the most open receptions of this year. So look, Andy Reid, this just in, he's pretty smart.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.